Guys, please confirm to me. All of you get my voice on screen. Those are attending in online. Right. Please check it, guys. Then what we discussed there in the last session, what we completed in the last session. Okay. Then Venki Vangayala Party, I think already given URL for these notes, right? For everybody. And in classroom also I uploaded that URL, right? Please check that classroom. Okay. Classroom code is not working. So you related? Are you related to this batch, right? The thing you registered for which course here? Only Hibernate. Okay. Right from starting, you are coming to the classes. Are you coming to the classes right from starting? Then I given that link, sir. Guys, just give a minute of time. I'll come back. I'll start. Just 1 minute. Guys, now please check it what we completed there in the last session. All right, so then what is the difference between upload, update and save or update method that we are discussing actually, right? Right. So how many programs we completed, guys, so far up to now? I think so up to now we completed how many applications there? Maybe one application is for inserting records and one application is for update. Then next application here we have to go for like what there? Delete operation also here we can do that we are going to do, that we are going to see in the future. No need to worry for it. Okay. Right, so now here we have to go for like what there? Hibernate 10 a.m. Eclipse. Okay, fine. So now we want to go for one more question, guys. What about this question here? We have to understand there. That question will be like what there? Guys, I'm asking one question. Do you not try to answer for it? What method is required? What method we required to fetch the data from database table? What methods we required to fetch the data from database table, guys? Now tell me. Come on, I'm expecting answers from all of you guys. What methods we are going to use to fetch the data from database table? Okay, then before moving to that one, delete operation also here I want to do here itself. Now try to understand, guys, what I'm telling here. Save or update, that's okay, fine. But employee record is available here. Now let me check in the database table. Select a star from EMP1 is available, ENO, ename, ECL and EID here. The data is existed here. Now I want to show delete operation again here. Right, delete operation also here I want to discuss with you. Right, a simple operation only because of one method I'm not going to prepare any application here. Here itself we are able to perform like what is there? Delete operation there now. How we are able to perform delete operation, guys? Right, sir. Simple. First of all, we have to create that employee object. Insert this employee object primary key value is what there 111 AA 5000 and ID bed. This data here we provided here. Of course, my config and everything is okay, fine. But if you want to delete the record, no, then what we have to do there, session dot delete method is available. Delete of object obj here we have to pass. That's my point here. Object obj here we have to pass there. Now let us use this method here. Delete of, then what object here we have to pass there? No, employee object here we have to pass. When we pass that employee object, automatically it able to provide like what there delete. Now void is the return type here. Then here we are going to write like what there employee deleted successfully. Employee deleted successfully, that we are able to provide. Employee deleted successfully. If it is update, then updated successfully. If it is save or update, employee save or updated successfully. If it is a delete, no, there we are able to write what there employee deleted successfully. This message here we have to provide. Right, so now let me execute this program here. Now before that program, in my EMP1 table, what data is available here? Select a star from EMP1 is existed here. Now inside this CNO, ENAME, ECL and EAD here, 111 AA 5000 and ID bed, the data is available. Now when I run this example here, then automatically here we are able to get some output. What output here we are getting here? Now try to understand it. Employee deleted successfully. Now let us see this delete operation here. Inside this, select a star from EMP1. No records are available. Just employee is deleted here now. Okay, fine. Guys, observe carefully. Alright, so now, for example, if employee is not available, then what will happen? If record is not available, then what will happen there? No. If record is not available, then what we are able to get, guys? Now tell me. Now let me check it. No, already employee is not existed here. Now we are able to get some exception or not? Again, we are getting employee deleted successfully, even though the record is not available. Even though record is not available, but still we are able to get what there? No exception here in the case of delete method here. Try to understand this clearly. Okay, anyway, now this is an example here we can understand. Leave it. Delete operation also be here we completed there. We completed what there totally. Delete operation also be here we completed. Fine. After completing this delete operation, then what next one here? I want to fetch the data from database table. Guys, what methods are provided by session to fetch the data from database table? What exactly the methods are provided by session here to fetch the data from database table? Any idea? Any idea? I given already that information to you guys. Any idea? What methods are used to fetch the data from database? No, guys, just give a minute of time. Then don't worry, guys. Guys, now tell me, select this query only. Then if you want to perform that select operation there, few methods are given there for all the operations now. What methods are given there now? Maybe save method, persist method, save or update method. Then after that, like what methods get? All the methods here are given there. Save, persist we complete, update or save or update we complete, delete we completed. Then what next one here for fetching the data from database table? For fetching the data from database table, here we are able to have two methods now. What are the two methods here? Get method and load method. Get my point or not? Melvin, merge method is not here. Merge method is not at basic steps now. Merge method will come there in what there? In caching mechanisms or somewhere else, we are able to get it. Don't worry. I'll explain that when the time is coming now. Then first of all, we have to understand the basic concepts. Basic methods, what we are having to perform basic operations there now. Merge is not here. Okay. Right, guys. Now get method and load method. These are the two methods are available here. Now both the methods are used to get data from database table. Both the methods are used to get data from what they know, database table. Now let's see their functionality clearly. How we are going to provide this get and load methods that we are going to understand clearly. Right, guys. Now let me open Eclipse IDE. Alright, guys, for the sake of your practice, once again, I'm going to prepare this total project right from scratch now. Right from scratch, I'm going to prepare this project again. Now try to understand it. Just for the sake of your comfort, for the sake of your convenience only, I'm preparing this project, guys. All of you understand it clearly. Right click here, new Java project. ABB03. I'm preparing now. Then everything is okay. As it is, we can manage now. Click on next button and click on what there? Finish button. Don't create. Okay, don't get just 1 minute. Right, in the last class we have done something. What we have done there, something, no, we prepared user defined library. That user defined library we have to be add or not? Here we have to add that user defined library for this. Okay, right click on it, go for properties. In the properties, then where we have to search it, we have to search for like what there. 1 minute. Java build path, libraries, class path. What we have to specify there, what we have to write there, add library, user library. Already user library is available or not? Select it, just select it. Already it is created there. Previously we created that user library, no? Just select it, then click on finish button. Then automatically that user library is added. Inside this user library, what we have there, all jar files, whatever the jar files here we required here, all jar files here we added there already, right? Now this one what we provided here. Next one, after completion of this, then what next one here, apply and close. This library is added to our project here. So no need to select every time that jar files and everything. No need to select them. Automatically we have to do this particular one here. That's okay, fine. Next one is, now let me, first of all, then what we have to do there, let me prepare a project. That means project is already created here. Now let me prepare a package. What is that package here we have to prepare there? First of all, here we have to use com dot durgasoft.app03 dot com dot durgasoft.app03 dot entities. I want to take this package entities. Click on finish button here. Now inside this entities as usual, then I want to take what there, new, and a class here I want to take. What is that entity class here I have to take there? Employee. Just initially I'm going to take only this class here, employee class here I'm going to take there, and click on finish button. Now inside this employee class here we have to provide like what there, properties here we have to provide. What properties here we have to provide there? Private int env. Then what next one here? Private and string ename. Then private float ecl, private string EADDR. Right, sir. Private int env, private string ename, private float ecl, and private string EADDR. Now these are the various things here we have taken there. Right click here. And then what next one here? Then after that, no, source. Then generate getters and selectors here we provided, and click on generate button here. That's okay, fine. Right, sir. Then what next one here we are understanding there? All of you guys observe carefully. Then what next one here we provided there? Next one is I need to prepare like what there. Right click on this. I need to prepare resources. What resources here we have to provide there? New source folder. I want to get source folder. What is the name of the source folder here? So just I want to provide like what they know, resources. By default, this source folder will be available in the class path. By default, the source folder is existed inside what there, class path here. That we have to do. Right, guys. Then after that, now inside these resources, we have to prepare mapping file. New, then we have to go for like what there other. There we have to search for file, XML file. Now click on next button. Now here we have to provide employee.hbm.xml. Employee.hbm.xml that we have to provide. Click on next button, and finish button here. Here we are getting it. Guys, now tell me from where we have to get doc type definition for this? From where we have to get this doc type definition? No? Guys, no, from where we have to get this doc type definition here? We have to get the doc type definition from Hibernate 3 lib. Then where Hibernate 3.jar. Inside this Hibernate 3.jar, just open what.arg.hibernate. Then inside this, then what we have to provide there, Hibernate mapping here we are able to get. Now inside this Hibernate mapping here, what I am telling to you, Now let us take this. Let me copy this doc type definition. Here we have to paste it. That okay. That we are getting clearly. Then after that, let me close this mapping dot DTD. Then after that, then what we have to do there? Just I have to go for like what there. What is the root tag? Hibernate mapping. Insert this Hibernate mapping. Then what we have to take there? Now here we have to take class tag. Insert this class tag. What we have to provide there? Name. Fully qualified name of the respective employee class. That is like what there? Com dot Durga soft dot app03 dot entities dot employee. This is the package name. Then that should be mapped with what there? A table name. Table is equal to emp1 is a table here we are trying to map. Right, guys. Now inside this, then we have to prepare like what there, what tag here we have to provide there, ID tag here we have to prepare. Right, sir. Inside this ID tag here we have to provide like what there, ID is equal to env. Now tell me, ID is ID name, not ID name is equal to what we provided here env. Guys, now when we are maintaining the same property name and column name in the database table, property name from POSO class and column name in the database table, when we provide this, is it mandatory to provide class column attribute here? Is it mandatory to provide column attribute inside this ID tag? When we have same names of the properties names and column names in the database table and in POSO class, no? Is it required to specify column attribute? No. No, not required to specify this column attribute. Okay, understand my point? Whenever we are having different names, there definitely we have to provide what their column attributes. But when we are having same name, not required to provide. So this is okay, fine. Next one is then what we have to provide their properties, property. Then we have to provide like what their ename. That's sufficient. Same name is available here. Next one is like what their property. Then where we have to provide like what their e-cell. It's okay. Then next one is like what their property. Then EADDR, then we are able to provide this. That's it, guys. So here we have taken like what there. We have taken like what there. All the properties, all the content here we provided. All of you observe carefully. Required information we completed. Then next one, what we have to prepare the next one, guys. Now tell me. Next one is under resources. No configuration file is required or not. Next one is we have to prepare configuration file new. Then here we have to go for like what there a file other. Then file XML file here we have to provide. Now it will be like what there. Hibernate.cfg.xml. Hibernate.cfg.xml. Next button. Next button and click on finish button there. Okay. Then what next one here? Insert this. Right, sir. Now inside this configuration file, we have to provide doc type definition. In the same location where we got that mapping DDD file, then where we have to get the doc type definition, there we have to copy this doc type definition here. Just copy this, remove this not required. Now here we have to provide like what there, the doc type definition here we have to provide there. Then after that, after completion of this, now here what is the root tag here we have to provide there. Root tag is what there, Hibernate configuration. Inside this Hibernate configuration, what tag here we have to specify there, session factory. Inside this session factory, here we have to provide like what there, properties. Connection properties here we have to provide. Then here we have to go for like what their property. Where name is what they know, here we have to use that name like what there, Hibernate dot connection dot driver class. Driver class. There we have to provide the driver class name. What is the driver class name here? Oracle.jdbc.oracle driver. Right, sir. Hibernate.connection.driver class that we have to provide. Where Oracle.jdbc.oracle driver class. That what we provided here. Next one is like what I'm telling to you after completion of this. Next one is after completion of this, then what we have to provide there. Another one of property. Name is equal to Hibernate dot connection dot URL. Then what is the URL here we have to provide there? JDBC colon Oracle colon thin colon @ localhost colon 15 21 colon XE. That value here we have to provide. Then what next one here? After completion of this, the next one is like what there? Then go property name is equal to Hibernate dot connection dot username. Then where we have to provide that username is what their system. In my database here, it will be like what their system. Next one is like what their property Hibernate dot connection dot password. Then here what we are able to provide there Durga. That we provided. Now all these are like what their connection properties here we provided there. That we know already. Clearly we understood that what we provided here. No connection properties here we provided. Clear? Right, sir. Next one is what property here we have to provide there. No property name is Hibernate dot dialect. Hibernate dot dialect. Then what is the dialect here we have to provide there? Oracle dot no arg dot Hibernate dot dialect dot Oracle dialect. Oracle dialect that we provided. That's okay, fine. Dialect properties also be provided here. Next one, what we have to provide there? No. What we have to provide? Mapping resources here we have to provide. Mapping file. Mapping resource is equal to what mapping resource here we have to provide there? No. Just we can understand like what there mapping file. Employee.hbm.xml. Employee.hbm.xml that we provided here. That's okay, fine. Now here overall everything here we provided. Am I right or not? Configuration file is okay. Everything here we provided perfectly. Next one is after that, after completion of this, we have to provide client application. Test application here we have to prepare there. Right click on this and a new package. Inside this, in place of this entity is there, I want to take like what is the test. Inside the test now, new test class. I have to take class name test. Your main method is required and click on finish button. Inside this, then what we have to provide here. Right, guys. Anyway, now first of all here I need to prepare what object here, guys. Now tell me. First I have to create what object there. Please all of you respond for me. Step by step, you have to give that information to me. What object here we have to create there? Configuration object here we have to create. Configuration is equal to new configuration. Right. Right, sir. When we create this configuration object, will you get all the configuration details or configuration object? Will you get all the configuration details to configuration object? Yes? No. We are not going to get all configuration details by default. Then what method here we have to call there? To get down the configuration details. Now what method here we have to call there? Session. Ramu, no. I want to get configuration details to the configuration object. So what method here I have to call? Configuration object I created, just it is an empty object. But still I am not having any configuration details inside the configuration object. If I want to get configuration object inside this, then what we have to call there? Ramu. Bhargavi Ramu. What we have to get? People are giving. Right, configure method here we have to call. Configuration dot configure method here we have to call. Configure method we have to call. Okay. Right, sir. To this configure method, is it required to provide any parameter? to the configure method, is it required to provide any parameter? Come on, guys. Is it required to provide any parameter? Everybody must answer for my question now. To the configure method, is it required to provide any parameter? If you provide your own configuration file, other than this hibernate.cfg.xml file, then we have to provide the name and location of the configuration file. But if you call this configure method, by default, Hibernate software will search for configuration file with the name like what there, hibernate.cfg.xml file. Got my point or not? If you call this configure method without providing any parameter, internally by default, Hibernate software will search for hibernate.cfg.xml file in class path environment variable. Already we provided this hibernate.cfg.xml file in the source folder. In source folder, in the sense resource folder, there is already available in class path now. So automatically able to take that. Not required to provide any parameter. Okay, fine. Guys, now tell me, after completion of this, after understanding this particular point, you only tell me what object here I have to create there after getting this configuration object. What we have to create? We have to create session factory object. Session factory is equal to, then how we are able to create the session factory, guys? Now tell me, configuration dot build session factory. Configuration dot build session factory. That object here we created. Am I right or not? Right, sir. Right, sir. Now tell me, what next one here after this? After this, what next one here? We need to get session object or not? Session object here we have to get. Session is equal to session factory dot open session. Get current session is not required. In the future we will talk about it. Now here we are able to get what they know, open session. Guide. Now we are getting session object. Now tell me, what object next I have to prepare there? What I have to do there next one? Come on, guys. Now you only tell me what we have to do there in the next one. Next one. Next step is what? What we have to create there? Yes. Any idea? Employee object here we have to create now. Guys, what is the intention of writing this program? At least any of you now tell me. What is the intention of writing this program, guys? Please respond for me. Why I am writing this program there? What I want to show? For fetching the data. For fetching data only, I am writing this program. Am I right or not? Okay. For fetching the data, which operation we are performing there? Select operation or non-select operation? Select operation or non-select operation? Fetching the data in the sense select operation or non-select operation? Select operation or non-select operation? Yes. Select operation only. Select operation only. If it is select operation, is it required to create a transaction object? If it is a select operation, is it required to create transaction object? Transaction object is mandatory. Is it required? Transaction object, is it required? Right, sir. Not required. Transaction object is not required. For non-select SQL queries, it is mandatory. Okay, then I want to get the data or not? Right, guys. To get this data here, what I have to do there? Observe carefully. Employee is equal to session dot get method. First of all, I want to show with what there get method. Okay. Get method. First parameter should be a string. Here we can take no. Inside the string, fully qualified name of the respective class here we have to provide. What class object here we want to prepare there? Fully qualified name. That is what there. Com dot Durga software dot app03 dot entities dot employee. Then after that, I have to provide primary key value. I have to provide what is the primary key value. What is the primary key value here? 111. But it is returning in the form of like what they know object type. This session dot get method will return what type they know object. But I need to get the data in the form of what their employee. That's why here we typecast this. We typecasted this. But if you want to execute this, we must have a record in the database table. We must have a record in the database table. But do we have any record in the database table? No record is existed here. Now let me check it. Insert into EMP1 values of 111 comma AAA comma 5000 comma Hyderabad. One record is existed, guys. Observe carefully. Select a star from EMP1 where we are getting one record. Nice. Record is mandatory. Without recording, then we are unable to get anything here. Alright, sir. Next one is here what I am telling to you. Observe carefully. Record is available and its primary key value here I provided. That is what there 111. So get method will search for the record on the basis of the primary key in EMP1 table. That if any record is available with 111, automatically that record data will be generated in the form of employee object to us. Where we catch that employee object, then we are able to display that employee object directly. Right, sir. Now here I'm going to specify like what there. Sysnot outed println of. Sysnot outed println of. Here what we are able to provide there. Here we are able to get that employee details now. Employee details. Sysnot outed println of. That's it. Now inside these, just I want to provide like what there online. Next one. Sysnot outed println of employee number plus here what we are able to provide there. Employee dot get ENNO. Sysnot outed println of employee name plus employee dot get e name. Sysnot outed println of employee salary plus employee dot get ESAL. Sysnot outed println of employee address plus employee dot get EADT here. The data here we are getting there. Try to understand this clearly. Right, sir? Then after that, after completion of this particular content here, what next one here we have to use there after completion of this? then we are able to display the data. Okay. Then what next one here after that? At the end, what we have to do, guys? Now tell me. Session dot close. Then session factory dot close, that we are able to use. Right, yes. Now let us complete this example here. Now let me execute this part here. See some cases here I'm going to discuss with you. Now try to understand these cases. No. Now here we are getting the data or not? Employee data here we are getting or not? Guys, all of you observe carefully. Employee data here we are getting or not? Okay, this is one point. Now understand this statement here. I want to go for some other statement here. What some other instruction here I'm going to do there. In place of this total thing, in place of string, directly I can specify like what there, employee dot class file also. In place of the total string, no, fully qualified name of the respective class. In place of this, directly we can use what there, dot class file name also. We can use what there, dot class file name also. Okay. Understand, guys, what I'm telling to you. Okay, this is one point. Please remember this point here, what I'm telling to you. Again, we are getting data or not? Again, here we are getting data. Okay. Right, guys, observe carefully. If record is available, then we are getting the data. In the case, if record is not available, in the case, record is not available, record I deleted. If I delete the record, guys, now observe carefully. Record is not available, but what will happen? What get method is able to provide? Will it provide null value or raising an exception, or try to understand it? Now what we are getting, sir? Some exception here we are getting or not? Okay, means that now let me, I don't want to display this data immediately. What we are getting, that's my point here. What we are getting there, that's my point. No, just I want to display that value here. Exception is not coming there, but in place of this exception, what we are getting there, no, employee reference here, null value here, we are getting there. Null value here, we are getting. Now try to understand this clearly. Yeah, we are displaying what is that null value. Guys, please remember this point here. In the case of this get method, what is the first point I'm telling to you? If record is available, record will be retrieved. If record is not available, it will return what value can know? Null value directly. Okay, it will return what value can know? Null value. Now let's understand this point now. Here the question is, what is the difference between get method and a load method? Alright, sir. For this question, answer I'm telling to you. Observe carefully. Now here, when we are getting, why we are getting null point exception? No, after getting null value, if we access any member, any method, any instance method on that null reference variable, then only we are getting null point exception. But my concept is not that null point exception here. What it is returning up to that only my point. What it is returning up to that my point now. Let's observe carefully. Now, first point here, what I'm telling to you, get method can be used to get an object from database. Okay. Then what I'm telling to you inside this what I'm telling here, in case of get method, Hibernate software will search for the respective in the database. Hibernate software will search for the respective record in the database. Okay. If the required record is existed in a database, then it will read it and it will send that record to the client application in the form of the specified entity object. Observe my point clearly, what I'm telling to you. In case of get method, Hibernate software will search for the respective record in the database on the basis of the primary key. On the basis of the provided primary key. If the record is existed, if the record is exists in the database, then it will read. And it will send that record to the client application. Sell to the client application in the form of the specified entity object. All right, sir. Now this is the point here we have to understand. Okay, in the case if the specified record is not existed, then what's the meaning of it? No. If the required record is not existed in a database, the required record is not existed in the database, then Hibernate software will return null value without raising any exception. Without raising any exception. Right, guys, understand my point here. If the record is available, then the record data will be written to the Java application in the form of a bean object. If record is not available, then simply it will return what value you know, null value. It will return what value you know, null value. Directly, it will return what value you know, null value. Observe carefully, guys. Okay. Without raising any exception, null value will be written. This is in the case of what method here? Get method. Okay, but in the case of post method, then what happened there now? Observe carefully. What post method is doing here now? Not post method. Like what load method is doing here now? Point number 1. Load method can be used to get data from a database. This also used to get data from database. But what is that internal story here? Internal concept is like what there? In case of load method, Hibernate software will search for the respective record in a database. Will search for the respective record in a database. Got my point or not? In a database. Okay. Database on the basis of the provided primary key. Then, if the required record exists, if the required record existed, the record exists, then what we have to do there? If the record exists now in the database, then Hibernate software will read the record and sends that record to the client application in the form of the specified entity object. In the form of the specified object. Alright, sir. If the required record does not exist in the database, then Hibernate software will raise an exception. Hibernate software will raise what there? An exception. Like what is that exception here? An exception like Hibernate exception only. Hibernate software will raise an exception like what there? Hibernate exception only. That's it, guys. Now this is about like what their load method. Here we can understand clearly. Get method and load method at initial point here we specified here. Let us check this clearly. Up to that level I have not checked here. Just only we checked what their get method only here we checked it in this example. Next one. Now here what I am telling now, I want to use load method now. Employee emp session.get employee.class here we can use, or we can use like what the fully qualified name of the respective class here we are able to use. One. Now here what I'm telling there in the database I want to have a record. Right, so record is available now. Here we are getting the data. That's okay. Now record is available, then we want to execute this. Here we are getting the data. Now this is employee object difference here, what we are getting there. What method here we have used there? Get method. No? Okay, fine. Not sorry. Load method. Okay. Right, sir. Let us execute this part here. Here we are getting the data. Okay. Now in place of this, now what I want to do there, node method only. But in place of this everything, just I want to be specific like what there, employee dot class. Still we are able to get the data. Okay. Still we are able to get the data here from this. Okay, up to this no problem here. But understand this, in the case if record is not available in the database, In the case, if record is not available in the database, then what will happen? In the case of get method, we got what their null value. In the case of get method, we got null value. But in the case of this load method, if record is not available, what we are able to get? Now we are getting an exception, object not found exception. Arg.hibernate.object not found exception here we are getting. No row with the given identifier exists. Object not found exception here we are getting. Hibernate exception, object not found exception here we are getting. In my data also I want to modify that. There is an exception like object not found exception. Right. This is one point. Here we have to recognize. Okay, fine. For example, I want to make it as comment here. In this one also. For example, I have data. Data is available. Commit operation is available. Select. Okay, data is available here. One more point I'm trying to show now. Try to observe this point, guys. All of you know. This is a commented here. First, I want to release this get method. I'm trying to say no. Try to observe this clearly. Even this one also I want to comment this. Just we provided only what their session.get method only I've used it there. Observe carefully. Session.get method only. In hibernate.cfg.xml file, I want to provide one more property. Property is what there? Hibernate dot show SQL. What's the meaning of the show SQL, guys? Now tell me. What's the meaning of show SQL? No? First of all, tell me. When we perform save method or persist method or get method or load method, whatever it may be, internally, Hibernate software will create a database dependent SQL query or not? Internally, Hibernate software will create database dependent SQL query or not? Come on, guys. SQL query will be created or not? Exactly. That SQL query I want to display on console. SQL query I want to display on console. Okay. Now let's observe this clearly. Show SQL, that is the purpose of show SQL. Now inside this, we are getting the data. In place of this get method, we are getting the data. Just 1 minute, guys. Now here, record is available now. I want to display this data. Show SQL is available. Now let me check it. Now this is select SQL query here we are getting. Am I right or not? Select SQL query here we are getting. Am I right or not? Okay, fine. This is the meaning of like what there show SQL. Internally database dependent SQL query here we are getting. Okay. Guys, observe carefully what I'm telling you. For example, I want to comment this. I'm not using the data. Just I'm writing only this in a section. I'm not using any data. Just I'm using only get method. Just I'm using only what they know get method. That's it. I'm not using any other data. Okay. Then what will happen? Let me execute this. Now SQL query here executed. Now query is generated, that query is executed here now. Okay. Then if we provide this, we are able to get reference also. Then reference value of this employee update also here we are getting. Where inside this we are getting the data. That's okay, guys. Observe carefully. Now, time being, what I'm trying to do there, I'm going to use load method. I'm using what method? The load method. But in the case of this get method, whenever we are calling get method, directly it will interact with the database and directly it will fetch the data and the data will be provided here. That's okay. Whenever you are calling get method, directly it will get the interact with the database and it able to get the object. But observe carefully, in the case of load method, I'm not using even system output println of employee also. Just a load method record. Will it interact with the database or not? That I want to know. Because of this load method, will it interact with the database or not? I want to know that. Alright, so now let me execute this. Are you getting any SQL query, guys? Are you getting any SQL query? Come on. Are you getting any SQL query? Is that SQL query generated? Not generated. It means that it is not interacted with the database. It has not interacted with the database. Right? Now database is not interacted here. But when it will interact with the database, no? I'm trying to display that employee object, but still observe carefully. I'm trying to get employee object. Observe carefully. Now it is interacted with the database. Now it is getting that one. That means, okay, now not only this one. Now this I'm displaying unnecessarily. Not required to display that employee object here. Just I'm trying to provide like what the employee object only. Just I'm going to access what the load method. Because of this load method, are you getting any output here? Observe carefully. No Hibernate query is generated here. But the point what I'm telling to you, when we access the values of, and we access the variables of the respective bean object, then only it is interacting. When we access the bean object, then only it is interacting. Now it is SQL query is executed. Now after accessing first value only, query is executed, then query value is coming there. Understand my point, guys? What I'm telling to you. So the point is what there. What is the point here I'm telling to you? It's an important point. Observe carefully. What is that point here I'm telling to you? In case of get method, Hibernate software will interact with the database. Hibernate software will interact with the database and fetch the data. And fetch the data from database table. Comma, fetch the data from database table and send the data to the Java application on the method call. Get. Alright, sir. Then what next point here I'm telling there? Okay. Okay. Next one is after that. In case of the load method, Hibernate software will not interact with the database. Hibernate software will not interact with the database. On the load method call. Okay. Directly it will not interact with the database on the load method call. Okay. Then what's the point I'm telling there? Hibernate software will interact with the database will interact with the database and fetch the data access variables of the respective bean. Right, sir. In case of load method, Hibernate software will not interact with the database on load method call. That's if I'm telling one more point. Hibernate software will create an empty bean object, an empty entity object or bean object with respect to the load method call. Just empty object it will create. Hibernate software will interact with the database and fetch the data when the access variables of the respective bean after calling load method. It's not like proxy object, it's some dummy object. Understand, guys, what I'm telling there? In case of load method, Hibernate software will not interact with the database on the load method call. Hibernate software will create an empty bean object with respect to the load method call. Hibernate software will interact with the database and fetch the data when we access variables of the respective bean after calling load method. Guys, now tell me, I'm telling one point here. Therefore, get method is the following. Early or eager loading. Now tell me, guys, similarly, what's that word here now? Therefore, load method is the following. Therefore, load method is following what there? Lazy or late loading. Lazy or late loading. Right, sir. Early or eager loading. Right. Load method is following what the lazy or late loading. Guys, all of you get my point now? This is what exactly the difference between get method and load method. All the points here we have to understand clearly. Right, so this is one of the interview question here we have to understand clearly now. Right, guys. Now this is somewhat information today. Try to read the content here. Guys, and still demo class link is going to be happen, I think so. Maybe anyway on Saturday that webinar maintenance is going on. Webinar maintenance is going on there on Saturday. Please recognize this what I'm telling to you. So not possible to take class on Saturday, but on Sunday anyway I'm giving half day. But tomorrow, excuse guys, tomorrow my class may be doubtful. I'll give an intimation there. If you want to take the class, then I'll give intimation to you. By default, come to the class. But if I'm not going to take the class now, just I'll give an intimation to all of you guys. By default, come to the class tomorrow. I have to go for a company actually. Then I need to have some discussion about these drives again. Okay. Then so that like what I'm telling to you, I'll give intimation to you if I'm not going to take the class there. As per the otherwise I'll continue your class on Monday onwards. Okay. 1 minute, guys. Don't worry, guys. Then on Monday, I will give access of it. No need to worry for it. If this file is not working there, let me fix it. Okay, let me fix it. If it's not working there, definitely I will provide that. I will provide another link. I will create there and I will give that link to you. Don't worry for it. Okay. Thank you, guys. Thanks a lot. We'll meet on tomorrow, guys. And Hibernate material is uploaded. Please check that. Hibernate material is uploaded. Try to check that in the drive, in the Google Drive where we are getting videos. There, Material is already uploaded. Now try to check with that. Thank you guys. Thanks a lot. I'll meet on probably on tomorrow. In the case if it is not the case, then we'll meet on Monday. Okay, fine. Thank you. Thanks a lot.